Guys, back with another Twinmotion tutorial. I'm going to show you guys how I did this interior rendering scene using Twinmotion. Let's get right into the video. Alright, so real quick, just kind of want to show you guys a little bit of our scene, what it entails. We have a break room with some windows to kind of let some light in. Have some lockers here in the back wall, a little round table, and we also have a little bar on both sides with bar stools. So it's a very simple scene, but packs a lot of heat, has a lot of detail in it. If you guys would like to really dig deep and learn my settings and how I created these renderings, check out my website at reboot.com and download the scene and let me know what you guys think. Guys, don't forget to smash that like button for me, hit the notification bell, and as well, don't forget to subscribe. All right, so just pointing out a few things here. I do have a area light under our cabinets, and also in our ceiling here, if you go to our material picker here, we can click on that, and I do have that as a neon, so that lets us have some light as well, and I did put a tint on it. So if you're wondering where do you find the neon texture or the neon PBR, you can go to materials, and we can go to neons here. So you can check it out there. You can use different types. You can use neon 01, 02, smooth blink, and it has different effects. So, but that's the one I use. All right. So now that we got some of those things out the way, just to kind of show you some of our assets we use, I did just put a backpack here just to make it look like the space has been used, and you can get that backpack at Sketchfab. So Sketchfabs have different assets that you can use. You can click in the search bar menu, you can put in backpack, and it comes right up with different options. So that's where I got that from. And this little lantern, I believe I got that from the Twinmotion library itself. All right, so let's get started showing some of the path tracer settings and see if I can help you guys get the results that you're looking for. So the first thing you want to do is hit the plus sign to create your image. I've already created my image here, called it render 1. If you want to rename your image, you can go to these three dots here, which you call your media menu, and you can rename it, delete it, duplicate it, copy the ambience as well if you would like, but I already created my image. So now that I have my image created, now we're gonna start looking into our different options here. You have our environment tab, camera, render, FX, and image. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going ahead and activate our path tracer. So my path tracer has been activated, and currently it's on low quality. So we click on low, then it has preset samples per pixel and max bounce, and also your other options here. So we're gonna crank it up to high, and I'm also gonna really crank it up a little more. I'll make that 1024. We got our max bounces as well. Let's change our max bounce to 15. Okay. All right, so now that we have that set up, you can kind of see that it looks really dark, but you do see my lights here. Just kind of pointing them out that I did use that neon material kind of help brighten the space. And you can kind of see my area light, which is showing a little bit of the lighting below the cabinets, or the upper cabinets, and just kind of showing the little accent as well. So let's go to our environment and let's start playing around with the settings. So we're going to keep the HDRI selected and HDRI environment. So we can click sky dome or backdrop. I'm gonna leave it on backdrop, but in our preview I do not want our default HDRI, which is approaching storm. I'm gonna click the three dots and go to library. I'm gonna go to HDR environments. We're gonna hit studio. So I want to choose Studio 29. Just do a little something different here. And I like how this rendering turned out using this particular HDRI. So let's drag and drop it onto our scene. And you see a slight difference in our scene already. But let's go even further. All right, so our intensity is at 1.00. Let's change our intensity. I want to lower our intensity dramatically, about 0.25. Okay. And the reason why is because I don't want the scene to be too intense or too bright. And I may come back and adjust that. We'll see. Our rotation right now, as you can see, we don't have any lighting that's coming into our scene other than our neon lights and a little bit of our aerial light that's kind of showing emphasis on our millwork here. So we're going to rotate this to see if we can get the sun to come in our scene. And once I rotate, you start to see a little bit of light coming in. So let's just make this 360. All right, so let's check our directional light. So I want our HDRI to match. So we're gonna click match HDRI, which matches the lighting and reflections of the selected HDRI. So that's our Studio 29. So once we click on that, and you'll see minor adjustments as we go. So just be a little patient. You'll start seeing the results as we get further along. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button for me and subscribe as well. All right, so let's go to our camera. So now we're in our exposure, and this is where you're going to start seeing more adjustments that will start to enhance our renderings here. So of course our materials do play a part. Whatever material you select for your scene is going to show some type of reflectivity, so that does play a part. But because I don't want this video to be very long, I went ahead and added those materials for you, and that way we can get to the settings. All right, so right now we have our exposure at auto exposure checked, and I'm going to keep that the same. So right now we have one. I'm gonna make that 8.00 to brighten our scene, and our white balance is at 6900. So that gives me a little more of a warm tone. And because I already have these bright colors, these accent colors, I want to actually change that from a more warm tone to a more cooler tone, which is going to help balance out the accent colors in our space. So let's do 4400. So now you see our space looks a lot different, has a more cooler look, and that's exactly what I was going for. All right, so let's make some more adjustments. Let's go to local exposure. Let's enable our local exposure. So now you're starting to see our scene come to life. Let's change our highlights to 0.92. Also our shadows, we can keep our shadows at 0.50. I like how my shadows are looking. You can start to see these shadows where it's underneath our bar stool table, and you start to see the shadows coming from our chairs here. So things are looking pretty good to me. Now if we go to lens, we have our focal length and it's at 18. So me personally, I would like to zoom in a lot more. I don't want to be so far back, so let's kind of zoom in. We could adjust accordingly. I think I'm gonna do 35. Okay, so now that I have that at the right focal length that I want to have it at, we're gonna go to details and let's look at our vignetting. So our vignetting is gonna darken our corners of our image, and I actually want to lighten them up. Right now it's at 50%. Let's do 35%. Let's change our sharpness to 15%. Our sharpness doesn't need to be 50%. It doesn't need to be that high, in my opinion. You want to keep that sharpness maybe 15 to 20%. Just depending on how, the look that you're looking for. You don't want something to look too sharp, because then it'll start to look not as natural, and you'll start seeing differences. You'll start getting that cartoonish look. All right, so right now we'll keep it at 15%. You can check mark chromatic abrasion. All right, so we want to make sure that we do check mark our parallelism. As always, I guess it just depends, but here I do want to ensure that my vertical parallel lines appear vertical, and that's going to correct our image. All right, so that's checked there. Guys, don't forget to smash that like button for me. All right, let's go to render, and right now it's at 1024. I'm going to crank it up some more. I'm gonna do 2048 just to increase our samples per pixel, give us a higher quality image. Max bounce is at 15. Keep that there. Okay, these look good. So let's go to FX. Let's start playing around a little bit of our color grading. So right now we have our contrast at 50%. I actually like where the image is as far as contrast goes, but I do want to up my saturation. So we're gonna make it 60% just to kind of bring out our accent colors. All right, so now I did put a color gradient on here, and you can choose different ones, but depending on the look and feel that you're looking for, you can tend to pick things that may not work with your scene. For this one, I did select Vice 2, so that's what we're gonna go with. We're gonna go with Vice 2. Scroll down. All right, so that kind of brightened up our scene a little bit, gave it a little bit of a different look. All right, so now that we have that, I didn't put a filter on it, so we're gonna leave that at none. I'm gonna go to image, and right now we're at full HD, which is 2K. You can make it 4K or 8K, whatever your computer can handle. I'm gonna do 4K. And if you go to details, we have another option here called tiled rendering, and you will select this one if you want to export your renderings at a larger scale, so you can actually have a higher resolution image when you export it. But because we're not gonna worry about exporting or rendering out to a very large scale, you do not have to check mark the tile rendering. All right, so the path tracer is doing its thing. I believe the image looks really good. Guys, don't forget to smash that like button for me, and I appreciate your time, and we'll be back with another one.